Good. All right. So yes, as it was said, this is IBAN, and allow me to take a moment to tell you more about the IBAN, about the European Business Angel Network, as we are very, very proud to have both FIBAN and SBAN as our members. And we're looking forward to moving there. Just what it is, what IBAN stands for. It is 20 years of experience in creating and connecting European investment, early stage investment ecosystem. We've been around for a while. We've been doing the work already. It is building a better tomorrow through successful investment. It is about building an amazing community of like-minded business angels, entrepreneurs, and investment and leaders. And it is a strong network with over 20,000 trusted members from 50 countries. These are potential co-investors or partners from Europe and beyond. And this is why we really want to and feel that it is important that we build this European ecosystem. What we do is really driving successful and responsible angel investing in Europe. And here it is about really the successful. We want our members to be successful, but it also about responsible, about being responsible of what is it, what we're investing into, and what is it, what we are creating. It is about empowering early stage investors and the next generation of entrepreneurs and innovators, and of course, representing the angel community towards the EU institutions and other stakeholders and market makers. These are the three main tasks that and what we focus on. This is just, you will get the slides. I will not go through the details of what else we do, but it just gives you an idea. As we have been for 20 years around, we've built a great amount of work on supporting angel investors, supporting the communities, and making sure that capacity building is part of that work. I'm very proud, and here we have also Lev, that is part of our board of IBAN, and it's just amazing to be part of such a group, to be working with angel investors from across Europe, and to be able to share the experience, build the trust, and really create a difference at the end of the day. So this is like just a short introduction about IBAN, the European Business Angel Network, the voice of Europe. And let me go into the 3 C's of successful angel investing and 21st century leadership. And just a few words about myself. I've been called Startup Grande Dame by the media in about over 40 countries that media covered my expertise. And I'm IBAN Vice President, board member since 2014. And also I'm the chair of the IBAN Capacity and Capacity Building Committee. And this is part of my work. I'm absolutely passionate about empowering people and creating a better future through entrepreneurship and purpose-driven communities. A serial entrepreneur, I'm a professional keynote speaker and coach. I host the Master of Angel Investing. This is an IBAN interview series that is starting this month, where I was interviewing, and I am still interviewing, the best business angels from across Europe. And you can learn a lot from that, but you will be receiving the information as soon as we are ready to launch it. Vice President of IBAN, founder and board member of the Austrian Angel Investors Association, the founder of 1 Million Startups and the 1 Million Startup SDG Accelerator that has started this year. We launched especially working with female founders and female scale-ups. And with our conference that will be in October, I was an investor in the 2 Millions, which is the startup TV show, and mentored and supported over 1,000 startups. I can only recommend joining what Anu just presented, and being a mentor to startups. You can really learn so much and really have a lot of experience from that, which is then helpful to you for the investments that you are going to make. I started the Global Entrepreneurship Declaration that is welcomed by UNIDO, and I am a very proud mom of 2 young adults and happily married to my first love, which is something that is really, really important to me in terms of my own personal values. But let's look at the big picture. The big picture, our world is changing. The way we are looking at investments, earlier it was more about looking at exits, and we were only in the exit business. Now we move to creating great businesses, and now the world is moving towards creating great solutions to the problems that we have. And when you look at the world coming together, be that it's climate change or many other aspects, but especially the Sustainable Development Goals that 185 countries agreed upon in 2015, and these are goals that are set till 2030. It is a 12 trillion opportunity, business opportunity. So if you ever have any thoughts about where do you want to invest and what do you want to do, just take a look at the Sustainable Development Goals and the different targets they are. And this is something that you can then use as a guideline, as a framework, as this is what the world has agreed upon. And it is a megatrend, a megatrend is something that investors love because that's the whole world or the big markets moving towards that. And this is something that we have seen is really happening around us. More and more people are really caring about where they invest and how they invest. Business angels do, and if we take a look and compare it to, let's say, regular financial investors, it is about really three sorts of capital combined with a lot of personal engagement, a personal time that you invest into it. What sorts of capital is that? We're talking about the financial capital, of course, about the money that you're investing. About the human capital, it is about the expertise, what you can bring into the startup. What is it, what you know? What is your professional experience? How much can that be of benefit to the startup? And of course, the social capital, your network. Who do you know? Who do you can connect with? Who knows you? How does these three things work together? So it's the money, it is the experience, knowledge, and the network that you have combined together with your personal engagement. Is that what is really being an early stage investor, a business angel, compared to an investor who usually invests just financial capital and expects to receive the money as soon as possible, as much as possible, whereas a business angel still does want to have the return in terms of money, but is ready to invest much more. Usually the majority of business angels are entrepreneurs themselves. Either they were entrepreneurs or they exited a company, their own startup, or even if they worked for a corporate, they had some entrepreneurial spirit into that. So it is basically a way of living entrepreneurship without being involved into the daily operational work, but still being able to be an awesome entrepreneur and love that. So let's look at how does that fit into it. We said there's a mega trend working towards the Sustainable Development Goals. And then on the other hand, business angels, what they really do is invest into the innovation. What is really important for you is what it's on the left side of the slide, it says lead into your future, is with your decision where you're going to put your money, you decide which startups, which innovation, which solutions will be financed. And this is such an amazing thing to think about, is it that you can really influence and you can really make a difference by investing into things that you care about. And this is what we are talking about, is the leadership in the 21st century. Let's look at the 3C leadership model. There is a premise, which is clarity, the 3C cycle, communicate, connect, and create, and the umbrella, the currency that is behind it. But let's take a look at it. The base for successful angel investing is really clarity. I will not go too much into details, as this is, as I see, the basic of really successful angel investing, and it is not just something that lead investors need to do. And today we're talking about being a lead investor, but we still need to talk about clarity. Without it, you cannot be a successful business angel, and especially not be a successful lead angel. You have to know a lot of things about yourself and the way you work and how do you want to, what is it, what you want. So the first one, why you invest. It is very different in terms of what the goals you want to achieve and what is it, what you do. If you're investing simply because you have nothing else to do, or you have extra money that you can spend and you can, you'll just give it somewhere instead of donation, you will invest it into a startup, or you are really passionate about a certain solution and certain startups, or you are a professional business angel and you want to make sure that it's really bringing you money back. So these are different ways how you look at investments, and it's very important to be aware why are you investing. And this is going to have also an influence on your co-investors, but we will be talking about that later on. What are your expectations? What is it what you expect really about the investment that you're making? Let's say that you are investing, you became a business angel simply because it's cool today to be an angel investor, and there's a certain reputation and there's a certain image and positioning that comes with that, and that is the reason why you're investing, and you don't really care that much about which startups you invest into and how much money you're going to make out of it, but it is about the position that you have. Or, as I said, you're really doing it on a professional matter and there's a certain return that you're expecting to have. This is what's your expectations. You have to know and be aware of your own values. If you are going to co-invest with other people, you have to know what is important to you, as to be able to find people that share the same values as you share. So it is, do you care where the money is going? Are you going to invest into a startup that is, I don't know, creating weapons? Or do you care that the startup that you're investing to can become a B Corp? Or do you care if they're measuring the impact, working towards the sustainable development goals? Do you care that these are family-friendly businesses, or that they, push forward diversity? Whatever your values are, it is important that you are aware what are the important values that you want to see also in the startups, in the investments that you are investing into. You have to be aware, of course, of your resources. The money, the expertise, and the network you can provide. How much money do you want to invest? Knowing that in advance will help you build your own, as we discussed, the investment thesis and the strategy of investment that you're going to have. How much money are you going to invest into each startup? How many startups are you going to invest into? How are you going to build your portfolio? How do you want to share the risk? All of these questions. If you want to really be successful, and if you want to be professional into these, as a business angel, it is important that you are aware how much money you have, what kind of expertise can you bring into your startups, and of course, what kind of network do you have. We've seen too many people out there saying they're business angels, not having enough money really to, for example, do the follow-on rounds, or saying that they have great networks, but not willing to connect the startups and the other angel investors with the contacts. So it is, you have to be aware what are the resources that you have available, and how much of that do you really want to put into the investments, into the startups you are working with. Your investment thesis, as I said, what kind of portfolio you're going to build, what are the requirements that you're going to have, how you're going to divide your risk and share your risk. These are all the same way a fund would have an investment thesis and strategy, the same way if you want to do it in a professional manner, you do it yourself too. And of course, have your clear rules on your portfolio, on your follow-on rounds. Also, making sure that you know when to stop, or how do you choose your co-investors, what is important to you. So the clearer you are about your own situation and what you have and what you can give and what you want, the better off you are for your investment. So it is not just about investing and putting money into it, but it is about really having a certain purpose, a certain mission, so something that you want to achieve, and making sure you can do that. And yes, so let's look at the next level. So clarity is extremely important. This is the premise, this is the base of any successful leadership, or any kind of, especially lead investor, business angel lead investors. When looking at the 3C model of leadership and angel investing, lead angel investing, we'll look at the first part, which is really communication. This is the best place to be who you really are, to be authentic. Let's remind ourselves, the reason why you are a business angel is not because you are forced to, but because you have chosen to. You have the opportunity to really do it the way you want to do it, and to communicate and to be the person you always wanted to be or are. Yeah? But there is no rules around you. It is about you building your own positioning, your own position, and creating the new place where you can communicate in an authentic manner. We have to differ and to differentiate the communication before, during, and after fundraising, especially also in the follow-on rounds. There are certain expectations that you have towards your co-investors, and the startups and the founders that you're working with that you have to be part of. So before really investing and before the deal is closed, your role is more in this due diligence, in finding really connections. So it wouldn't be very much looking at the role as more as a salesperson, where you're kind of selling and pitching the whole thing if you want to be the lead investor, as to attract co-investors. During the negotiation process and during the term sheet and during the fundraising itself, as I said, it is more about a negotiation role that you have. And after the fundraising, it is really you are the promoter, you are the champion of the startup, and really creating as much buzz as possible to make sure that the startup really succeeds. And then, of course, you have to plan the follow-on rounds and making sure that these also happen and are there. So you are really the snod between the co-investors and the founders, which means opening and closing doors. What do I mean by that? We have seen situations where you would have one lead investor and a group of 10 co-investors, and it's clear who has which role, but still you would have the co-investors trying to contact and reach out to the founders directly. Sometimes this is an advantage, and this is something that fits too, because when agreed, it can be done. But if not, this is not the way it should be done, because you don't want your founder to be talking to everybody. This is why you are the lead investor. Being the lead investor means not only that you lead in terms of the project itself, the fundraising, and creating what is needed around it with the due diligence, with the term sheet, with the timing and everything that comes with that. But it also making sure that the communication between the startup and the co-investors is controlled, is structured, and you set the rules as a lead investor. This is what I said, being authentic is you can set up certain rules in cooperation and agreement with the startup, with the founder, and making sure that it really works between the founder and the investors community, your co-investors, your syndicate. But also it is important that you make sure that the communication within the co-investment group works. I have a colleague of mine, for example, who didn't want his potential co-investors to ever talk to each other before the investment. His reasoning is that when they start talking to each other, they develop a lot of negative ideas, thoughts, and reasoning, and that the deal doesn't work so well as when he talks to each of them separately. Another one didn't like talking to each other, to each of the investors separately, and really always organized group calls even before the fundraising round was agreed, and making sure that everybody was on the same page and everybody knew how the project is progressing. And this is something that you have to define. If you take the lead, you are the one who is setting the rules, as I said again, in cooperation with the founders, but you are the lead investor, and it has a lot to do with your way of communication and how do you set up these deals. Your experience, of course, will help you to be there, because you will know the pitfalls, the pros and cons of being a lead investor. But it is very important that this communication is structured in a way that works also for you. Imagine you have your 20 startups and you cannot be a lead investor on 20 startups, because you are the one who is leading, you are the one who is doing most of the work, most of the communication, and making sure that everything runs smoothly. So you have to decide how much time you're able to invest into this startup and think about it before you decide you're going to lead the investment there. This is the communication expectations, and the structuring is very important to be very clear towards the founders, but especially within the community. How often, or your group, investment group, how often do you speak to each other? What do you offer to each other? Making sure, for example, it would be very different depending on who your co-investors are, what they expect. And if you don't tell them what they can expect from you as a lead investor, or if they don't know you already from before, you can be sure there's going to be a lot of issues popping up if something goes wrong. Of course, as long as everything goes smoothly and the startup is making progress and hopefully going towards a great exit, then there will not be so many problems. But as soon as the situation there are some issues, then everybody will come back to you as the lead investor. For example, in terms of the due diligence, it's really important. One of the things is that as a lead investor, you are responsible in the first place for the due diligence. Basically, people are investing with you because you are a lead investor, because they trust your way of looking at the startups and looking at potential investments. But make sure that the other co-investors also do their own due diligence. We had a case recently where one lead investor, a very good and very successful lead investor, basically before the COVID crisis started and the lockdowns, he invested into one startup. It was a follow-up investment. A new angel investor joined in, invested quite a lot of money into that startup, hoping to make sure and really have a great exit afterwards. And the lead investor was really a successful one. So basically, everybody thought, if the lead investor invests, I want to be part of that, and I'm going to make money. But the new investor did not do the due diligence properly, and then afterwards really came back to the lead investor and said that she did not have enough information on who and what was going on. And basically what happened is that you have the lead investor who did the due diligence. The new investor did not do their own share of due diligence to make sure they're investing correctly in terms of their own personal investments criteria. And then after the startup did not really work well, then came back to the lead investor and said it was almost a fraud and not really doing the due diligence properly. So make sure that you communicate clearly your expectations, what are you going to give, and then what you expect from the others to be there. And also, it is important that you adapt it to the personal communication style that you have in your own portfolio. You most probably, and if you're a professional business angels, you will have 20, 30, 40 different investments. And you have to make sure that this communication is really working within the whole level of communication that you are there. You are, as a lead investor, you are the champion for that startup. You are the one who's talking to the world about that startup. So make sure that you have the resources to do so and that you feel really comfortable and happy to do so. Communication. The second one is about connecting, and it is about return on fund. As I said at the very beginning, you're doing this because you want to do it. And the great thing about being a business angel and a lead investor or working or investing in a syndicate is the fact that you are working with other people together. And you are investing with other amazing angel investor, great entrepreneurs who have succeeded and now are ready to invest into other startups and are ready to invest into the next generation. And we love talking about the return on fund. Connecting with amazing people, not only the entrepreneurs, but also the angel investors around you is the amazing and great part of that. To do so and to have that fun, it is important that you choose carefully and that you know your co-investors. We had recently a situation where we have a new angel investor who really thought and was talking about how much return I'm going to get, what is the percentage, in a year or 2 or 3, obviously not understanding how does angel investing works and how does it, returns And it is really important. You want to make sure that you choose co-investors that fit your own values, that have the knowledge, or if they do not have the knowledge, if they are really new towards angel investing, that you provide them the knowledge that they need to have. And I'm sure that the IBAN Academy and the Nordics can help you with that also. It is very important, this connection, when creating the connection, is to have the founders and the investors aligned, the values that they share to have aligned. So if you have a founder that has created a startup and is really happy about creating a business, a long-term business, and is not really into exiting the business, and then on the other hand, if you have an investor that is really looking at, getting the exit as soon as possible, these two things will not work together. So you want to make sure that also not only that you share the same values, the same knowledge, or at least that you know what is the level of knowledge within your co-investment group. So it is within the investor, but it also with the founders, making sure that you are aligned in terms of the values and what is important to you. As a lead investor, you are, of course, leading the fundraising process. You are the one who's championing it. Of course, you cannot replace, and you should not replace the CEO. That's the job of the CEO, but you are the lead in creating the connections. You are the lead in terms of opening doors. You are the lead in using your personal network that you have built across the years and your own personal business to make sure that this CEO and this startup gets the investments that are needed. So you are leading the fundraising process. One of my most successful friends, angel investors, really a super angel, is really known for creating so much momentum for each of his startups, especially when he's in the lead, that it has never happened that the startup has not received the fundraising that was needed. So it is really about you being aware that as a lead investor, you are the champion of that startup and you are leading the fundraising process, not taking the role of the CEO, but in terms of creating all the connections that are needed towards that. You want to tap into your network and expand your network. It's a great opportunity. The fundraising process is a fantastic opportunity to meet new people, to connect with other people, to reach out to people from across the world that are working in similar fields or that have the knowledge that you want to have, because you want to have in your co-investor network people that are knowledgeable, that have a great network, that have great expertise, that can be of benefit to the startup, not only bring cash. Cash is never enough. It's always about smart money that we're talking about. As I said, a business angel is somebody who brings in the capital, the expertise, but also the network. And this is how you want to build your co-investment network and build also and expand it with time. Important to know is that you are the lead, but you are not alone. So make sure that you know exactly who in your co-investment group knows what and knows whom, and make sure that everybody gets a role so that they can really contribute, not directly with the founders, but they can contribute and help you lead this fundraising process and making sure that it really works smoothly. So you are the lead, but you are not alone. And it is about delegating and creating more of a connection towards a similar goal. And this is what is important. This is why we're talking about 21st century leadership, is this communication, connection, and creation is something that is really three important steps of any leader in the 21st century. It is no longer about working alone, but it is about being together, to get connected and creating together something that is of importance and of value and of benefit to others. And I would absolutely suggest you trust your intuition. Yes, of course, when we read all the books and says, you should do this and you should do that. But at the end of the day, it is your intuition that works best. The fact that you are where you are and that you're investing as an angel investor means that you have successfully built at least one business already. Means that you have a lot of knowledge, experience that you can use. And I love to talk about we talk about lifelong learning. I love to talk about life-wide learning. So trust your gut and your intuition, bring in the knowledge and the expertise that you have gained in other parts of the world and bring it together. And so we are would like to do the last point, which is really about creation. And I would love you to enjoy the ride and make a difference. As I said, you are really making a difference. The way you are investing into a startup and deciding in which startup you're going to invest will make a difference. If you invest into a solution that is really needed, then at the end of the day, you will be part of that. And that is the most amazing part of being a business angel, is really to be able to share the passion and to be part of a solution. And most of angel investors really start being angel investors by coincidence, simply because they meet great founders, and these founders then start creating a great solution. And this is what everybody loves doing. So deciding on creating solution, great businesses, and exit is also to tap into your co-investor expertise, and also making sure that you integrate your startup into your portfolio. So it is about really creating a benefit across your portfolio. You want to make sure that if you have a startup in segment A, that maybe a startup in the segment C can learn from each other, or that you can really use the benefits of the one or the other to help each other, to become each other's clients, to perform each other. So it's really, really important that you build it in your portfolio as much as you can, and to tap in your co-investors' expertise, their network, and their own portfolio, making sure that you can leverage the benefits of each into the what you are building. So talking about the 3 C's model of lead investors, as I said, communicate, and connect and create. And to be able to do so, there is one thing that is really important, and that is, okay, for some reason, I cannot move. Yes, the main currency, and that is your reputation. Please be aware how much your reputation will make a difference in terms of how successful you are as an angel investor. It is all about what angel investors, founders, and other stakeholders think of you, and how they perceive what you say and what you do. Because at the end of the day, it is about the rule of the few. The top investors will have it easier to reach out or to find great investments, because they have a great reputation. Founders will want to be invested and would want them as investors. If you are a successful angel investor, then co-investors will want to be with you. If you're a successful angel investor, then partners and VCs will want to be with you. So it is about the reputation and making sure whatever, as I said at the very beginning, the authentic, the be you, make sure that this is the way you are. And everybody who is in this field, they know that their main currency is their reputation, and they will make sure that whatever they do is really to the benefit of the community, not only for the personal benefit. Of course, you want to have success and financial success, but at the end of the day, it's about creating something larger than yourself. It is not just about you being a business angels. It is paying forward. It is working with others, and making sure that you are creating great solutions. So make sure that you are aware that your main currency is not the amount of money you have, but it is your reputation. Money enough is not enough. You got to be a great entrepreneur, a great angel investor for everybody to want to be part of that. And I think that in this, I would like to invite all of you to join me in the most exciting job that you may have, being a lead investor, being an angel investor. Before we start moving, and I will talk about a few cases that I know, I would like to know if there are any questions that we have, anybody who would like to share their own experiences. What is it, what worked for you or didn't work for you as being a lead investor? Or is there a question that you have that you would like to have answered before you become an angel investor.
Amazing, Selma. Thank you very much. Let's open the floor for questions. So if there is any, please write them in the chat. But Selma, just back to you. What has been the biggest learning in your case, or in one of the examples that you could share with us of your biggest learning while being a lead investor?
Yeah, it is really, I've had several cases, and of course around me there's a lot of people that were successful or not successful as lead investors. But one of the greatest experiences that I had was an investment tool that we created with over 90 women from across the world. And we invested all together, and I was one of the lead investors. And for example, we never met personally. Everything happened really digital. And we're talking about 2015 or so. It was not the Zoom time and the Corona time and when everything started. So it was absolutely possible. We showed that it was possible to really invest with others without meeting. But we made sure in some cases and some aspect, we made sure that it's very clear. We had a very clear level of investment thesis. Where do we invest and how do we invest and what is important to us? But we still made a lot of mistakes because the communication didn't work. And that's why, it's really, I'm talking about this communication part because we assume a lot. I'm experienced, the other person experienced, the third person is experienced, and we believe, we are all experienced, we know what that is, but at the end of the day, if we do not clearly communicate and really say what we want and what we expect and what we can give in, there's going to be a lot of troubles, especially as soon as you start investing internationally, which means that is across border, which means that you have even other cultures. Things like even timing are an issue. You have one person that says, well, we'll do it soon. For one, it is for somebody that is in the next 10 minutes. For the other one is the next 10 days. So it is really, really important to communicate. And I love the connection part of really being able to meet a lot of people through syndicate investments, because that is the best way to connect. One of the things was, for example, as a lead investor, there was this communication part where one of the founders was just going crazy because the communication was not structured the right way. So he was like really, bombed through everybody who wanted to have some kind of information. And, angel investors love to say, I want to have the reporting, but in fact, I would like everybody to think, what I can contribute before I get any kind of report. So it is not about receiving, it is about giving. And then at the end, you receive and you get the things together. So it is really, there are so many opportunities that you can have. And I really want to make sure that everybody understands that, of course, it is very different and each situation is very, specific. But it is about this, this communication. It is about connecting, sharing the same values, connecting about the joy, the fun. It is a very difficult job and a lot of very time consuming, but it is the most exciting job you can have, really, is to be an angel investor and to see great entrepreneurs succeed. I mean, what else can you, wish in life as to have the joy of creating great solutions and being part? Because when you run your own startup, you have to be very focused on what you do. And as an angel investor, you can be part of many stories at the same time. And that is the best part of it.
Yeah, amazing insights, Selma. One other idea or topic I wanted to raise is building trust that we've been speaking about here during those lead investor meetups. So it's hard to build trust, but it's so easy to lose the trust.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on building trust and losing trust?
That's part of that reputation story. And it is really because however you think that the global ecosystem of startups and angel investing is global and big, it is very small. Bad stories and bad reputation and failing on trust aspects is very fast. Everybody knows about it. Building trust is about being really, again, communicating, but it is about being honest on whatever that is. So, of course, there are issues with startups, and of course, you have made mistakes. For example, with the Austrian Angel Investor Association, which is the association here in Austria that I have founded, the most important part of our network is really the trust, the ability of the people to meet, talk with other angel investors, more experienced or less experienced, share the experiences, be able to hear really the bad and the good about it, and know that everything that was spoken about will stay there, will not go out. And that is really important, is, the Chatham rule, that I'm able to share with you, for example, all the mistakes that I made, to receive an advice from you, and that I know that you will not go out and say, Selma is not a good angel investor because she didn't know X, Y, Z. We don't know everything, and this is a process, and we learn. Every single startup is a specific case, and we make mistakes, and we know that when we invest, 8 of your investments will not make it, or 2 will be great, or 1 will be great, or whatever. But it is about making a lot of mistakes, making sure that you can cover those through the experience, through your connections, and the creation process that you have. And trust is definitely the most important part in the syndicates and co-investments. But you build trust by communicating. It is like in a relationship. I mean, if you have a relationship and then you lie to that other person, of course, the relationship is not going to work. But if you know that you are very clear and you talk about issues and you talk about problems and you're very clear in the expectations, then the chances are you will be willing to work on the relationship that is on the syndicate and what you do. So building trust-based relationship is the basis of building your own reputation, but also to be able to do so, you have to have clarity about who you are, what you want, and who do you want to spend time with. That is the great part, is that you don't have to be, you don't have to take everybody or anybody as your co-investor. You can choose the people you like, you trust, and you work. And that's something that happens most of the time, is that you have groups, trust group that are formed and people start investing together.
Really quick follow-up question, one more. Is there a startup that you're leading the deal at the moment, or what would be the next one that you would be happy to lead?
The next one is working on it right now. We'll see if that is going to happen. I just had a very unsuccessful lead investment, but that's part of the deal. And I think it's very important, all the lessons learned there of not clearly building the portfolio case, not being very clear on what are the expectations, being a very small group of a very small syndicate in a larger investment and not be able to receive enough information. This is what, the size of your check allows you the size of your questions. So these are all the things that have happened, and, I'm happy to have my fill just recently. So, that's part of it, but others, it is all part of the lessons that we have, and it's important. It was finance, in the finance field, and the competition is really strong, a lot of things happening, and but there is another one that is preparing, so I'm looking at another one in the same field.
Amazing. So I really hope that participants can reach out to you using your EBAN email. I guess it's somewhere out there.
Yeah, or it is now. Just put it on the presentation. You can reach out to me through vicepresident@eban.org, or in general throughout the social media, LinkedIn, or you can find me easily there.